Hello everybody. While we are on the subject of my aunt and uncle, I might as well go into a few more details about him. And I want to say some good stuff about my uncle as well. He had a lot to commend him for. But when we were still in Germany, which means I was below the age of 5, because when we came here from Germany, I was 1 month away from being 5. Okay, so while we were in Germany, I imagine I was 4 years old, because I don't think my memory goes back further than 3 or 4 years old probably. So my aunt and uncle, who I adored, would come and visit us, our family, and I loved him so much that he had a Jeep. He drove a Jeep. He was in the military. And my aunt and he were leaving. And I pleaded with them not to go because I loved him so much. So me, at the age of 4 years old, I went over to the back of the Jeep. And I said, if I hold on to the fender of the back of the Jeep, I'll prevent them from leaving. So I grabbed a hold, and held on. My uncle took off and dragged me. I didn't let go. Everyone screamed at the top of their lungs, "Henry, stop! Henry, stop!" Scream, 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 scream. And of course, he stopped. And of course, my knees were so bloody, were so damaged. I don't see any scars anymore today, but they were... that was me. That's what I mean about my personality, the gung-ho personality. Gung-ho, gung-ho. Think I could hold back a Jeep at 4 years old. By the way, I told you the anecdote about my brother, Jimmy, trying to impale me on a spear when I was 6.5 or 7. And he's almost 3, was almost 3 years older than me, so I measured the scar. I still have the scar. I'm 73 years old. This happened when I was 6 or 7. The scar is 2 inches long. It's right here on my upper thigh, on my left upper thigh. It's 2 inches long and almost a 1/4 inch wide, the scar. When the wound was there, the whole wound, it covered probably this much of a black and blue and bloody and big. And it closed up by itself slowly and then had a scab that stood 1.5 inches. That's how thick the scab was. I remember going to a pool where there were a lot of kids, and that scab was so big and so thick and so unbelievable that all the kids came. I had bandages over the top of it. I didn't go in the water. I just had my feet wet, but I didn't go in the water with this wound, with this scab. And a lot of kids, like a whole bunch of kids, came to look at it. It was so amazing. This scab was so big. And people used to parade by my bed just to see the wound. People of the family. And I remember Marius, who became my mother's new husband, he came by and he says, "Oh, it'll be okay, it'll heal." But my mom, a wonderful, pleasant, positive person, kept saying, "Oh no, they'll have to amputate her leg." Didn't take me to the doctor. I explained this before, which I didn't know at the time. I didn't think about it. I didn't realize it. Years later, I thought about it, because I would have told the doctor how I got the wound, and I would have told the doctor how my brother set me up with this spear that he was sharpening for 2 days and 2 nights, with this switchblade knife they gave him, little pocket knife, not a big switchblade, a little pocket knife. And he told me to hold it against the cobblestones with the sharp end right towards my crotch. He was hoping the spear would go into my vagina. I told you that before. But it missed my vagina, and the stone that it hit, the cobblestone, and went into my leg so deep that I could not go it affected my bowels, and I could not go to the bathroom for several days. I could have died from that wound, a psychic told me, and I know how, by peritonitis. Had it gone into my vagina and into my intestines, I could have, would have, maybe had got blood poisoning. Peritonitis, blood poisoning. And that kills you fast. It can kill you within a week, you're dead. So God prevented that. God saved me from that. There were a lot of things God saved me from. I know that. God saved me from death, going down a mountain with no brakes one time. That's a separate anecdote I'm going to tell you in the future. I need a whole segment to get into that. And trying to think what I started this segment with. I can't remember, so I'll have to go to the next one. I can't remember.